Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to our Wednesday evening live stream. So I hope you've all had a lovely day today. It's certainly been gloriously sunny where I am in Northamptonshire. Absolutely vintage sort of day again. So just so sunny today. And we've got several more days of this to go actually. So there's no end in sight, certainly not until into next week. So certainly for the rest of this week and the weekend, we've got plenty of this still to come. So the control room at YouTube is playing up. I managed to start the stream though, but I'm doing this on the video page where you all are. So if everyone can confirm that that the sound is okay, I've got no feedback or anything. I've made sure everything is muted, so it should all be absolutely fine. And there shouldn't be any problems with the sound. Yes, we're going to be here for around sort of 55 minutes, something like that. We'll wrap it up before 7 o'clock. And we're going to have a look at the GEM and GFS 12Z. So we'll go through the 12Z, which is currently updating as we're speaking, the 12Z data. And we're also going to have a look at the summer of 1995 for this. There's been quite a bit of talk, quite a bit of speculation about 1995 and it having similar patterns to what we've had over the past few weeks. So I thought we'd use this time to have a little sort of recap on the summer of 1995, see how that summer got going and how it developed and whatnot. So we're going to do that as well in this live stream, and we'll have a look at the GFS and the GEM 12Z. We can't show the ECM 12Z, unfortunately, because that won't be updated until later on. That will start updating just after 7 o'clock. Won't be fully updated until just after 8 o'clock. So when we go back to GMT, the ECM will update between 6 and 7 o'clock, of course. As I always say, for us weather geeks, it would be much better, much easier, really, if we was able to stay at GMT and not go through to BST. But there we go. That's it. So I can't do anything about it. We're on BST. And so the ECM won't be updating until like 7 to 8. So I see we've got lots and lots of people here with us today. So thank you everybody for being with us this evening. So we've got our moderators Savvy and Paul James here with us. Hello to both of them. Everybody can give Savvy and Paul James a thumbs up and say hello to them. That would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you to Savvy and to Paul James for being with us this afternoon. Well, this evening, really. I'm used to saying this afternoon, but it's more like this evening now, really, isn't it? 6 o'clock. There's no getting away from that. That is definitely in the evening. So, yes, I want to say thank you to both Savvy and to Paul for being with us and moderating the stream this evening. That'd be absolutely fantastic. So, I hope you all managed to enjoy the sunshine day. I know not everywhere has been sunny, but, it's definitely been a nice day where I am in Northampton. As I say, we've got several more days of this to go as well. So, we shall see. We see what happens as we get into next week. We're going to have a look at 12Z later, so there is a suggestion we might start pulling some cooler northerly winds as we go into next week. But we'll have to see what happens, and we'll have a look at 12Z very shortly. Okay, so looking at a few more of your comments. So we've got 33 people with us right now. So hello and good evening to the people watching the live stream right now. Hope you've had a lovely day and hope we're helping to ease you into your Wednesday evening. I've certainly had a more relaxing day doing it this way, I have to say. So it's been much easier for me having the stream now rather than at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and really having to push out the 5-day broadcast and the week to 10-day video update. It's been a lot easier for me today. So So, yeah, we'll see how it goes, because I appreciate people probably are going to be busy doing other things at 6 o'clock on a Wednesday evening. So we'll just see how it goes, whether we build up an audience for this or not. If we don't, then we'll probably knock the Wednesday stream on the head and concentrate on the Sunday stream, I would have thought. But we'll give it a couple of weeks and see how it goes. So thank you for everybody for being with us right now anyway. So we've got Chris Taylor with us. So good evening, Chris. Thank you very much for being with us this evening. And also Iceman is with us as well, saying it's been pleasant. It's been a pleasant day here in North Hampshire. I'm in North Hampshire, of course, Iceman. Very sunny and temperatures in the low 20s. It's been a lovely day today. JRP Romeo is saying, hi Gav, so Tropical Bertha has surprised us all by forming just before landfall 2 named storms before official season starts on June the 1st, which is quite rare, a precursor to a busy season perhaps. Yes, I think it could be, JRP. I think, yes, definitely, this could be a heads up, it could be a sign that you know, we're in for it a little bit with this hurricane season. All of the forecasts seem to be going for an above average hurricane season. But obviously, I've not seen a forecast yet that's going for a below average hurricane and tropical storm season. So I think this sort of early start, getting 2 tropical storms before the actual official beginning of the tropical storm season, I think that is probably a heads up from the tropical Atlantic and from the atmosphere that we've got to watch out, and that we're going to be in a little bit of trouble with this hurricane season. So we shall see, but everything that I'm looking at is pointing towards quite a big season, I have to say. Whether it's hyperactive remains to be seen, but I think it will be another above average hurricane season, definitely. Jack Lowe is with us saying, hi Gav, Sammy and everyone here, hope you've had a great day. Yes, had a lovely day. Thank you, Jack. So it's been a lovely day here in North Hampshire, and much less stressful for me today as well, doing this a little bit later on. So I managed to get the 5-day forecast out and the week to 10-day video update, and I haven't been rushing and been in a mad rush to try and get it all out for 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's been a much more relaxed sort of day for me, and the sun has just shone from dawn till dusk here, so it's been absolutely lovely day. So thank you very much, Jack, for being with us this evening. Josh White is here saying, good evening everybody. Hey Gav, another stunning day here in East Somerset. Yes, definitely, Josh. It's been absolutely amazing day here in Northants as well. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. Jack Lowe is saying 1995, what an amazing summer. CET stats 25th of July to the 4th of August. CET was 21.8 and 15th to 22nd of August 21.1. Yeah, it was a remarkable it really was a remarkable summer, Jack, and particularly so sort of in August, actually, so sort of later July into August. Absolutely remarkable summer, and so dry. In around sort of 10-15 minutes, just give everybody enough time to check in, but in around 10-15 minutes we will have a look at those charts for the summer of 1995 and just refresh our memory about how that summer actually developed and what happened during that summer. So yeah, as I say, we're going to have a look at that quite shortly. So as ever with this, I'm scrolling down your comments as you're making them, and it does have a tendency to kind of pull down to the last comment. So if I'm sort of drifting off into the sort of inner space, then that's what's happening. I'm trying to scroll back up and get back to where I was in the chat. So if everyone can give a thumbs up on the video as well, that would be absolutely great. Let YouTube know that you are enjoying the live stream. That would be absolutely fantastic. And thanks very much to everyone for doing that. We've got City Andy saying good evening. Oh, I hope everyone is well. I'm absolutely fine, Andy. I hope you've had a lovely day, my friend. And also we've got Katrine Baso saying good afternoon, Gav, and everyone. I hope you all are keeping well and having a good day. Yes, I've been absolutely Fine, thank you, Katrina. Hope you've had a nice day as well. Sharky Train is with us saying, hello Gav, nice weather in sunny Bodmin. So it seems like the sun has shone on pretty much the whole country today, but I know a few people have missed out. So I know there have been a few places stuck in cloud and cooler temperatures, but I think the sun's been pretty evenly just distributed across many parts of the country today. Shiram is with us. So good evening, Shiram. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. And Shiram is asking, hope to see a historic video for the spring of 2020. I would say it's a distinct possibility, Shiram. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we finish up having to do a historic video, not only for this spring, but also, you know, for the winter as well, when we have the polar vortex of doom, gone but not forgotten now. So I won't be at all surprised if there's not a historic video for the spring of 2020, and also for the winter of 2019, 2020, showing up at some point in the future. And will there be one later on for the winter of 2020-2021? That's a question that we don't yet know the answer to. But will there have to be a historic video at some point in the future for winter 2020-2021? We shall see. We've got 50 people with us right now. So hello and good evening to everybody for tuning in to our live stream this evening. Don't forget to give us a like on video and let us know through the live chat what you're thinking. Callum Turley is saying, I am hoping this weekend is going to be nice for my birthday. Well, happy birthday, Callum. That's absolutely great. So I'm not sure whether it's Saturday or Sunday when your birthday is going to be, 30th or 31st of May. But happy birthday for the weekend. And I'm not sure where you are in the country, but I think you're going to have a nice weekend. I think most places are going to be in for a dry, sunny and warm weekend this weekend. So I don't think there's going to be too many problems on that score. And just have a great birthday this weekend. A few people confirming that the sound was okay, so that's good. That's great. No nasty sound problems this week, as we had on Wednesday live stream yesterday. Last week, I should say. Also got a new name, Ida Majid, confirming that the sound is okay. So thank you, Ida, or Eden, thank you so much for being with us. Always nice to see new names in the live chat, so that's absolutely great. Thank you so much for being with us this afternoon and for confirming that everything is okay with the sound. Callum's telling me that his birthday's on Sunday and would like a shout out. I think we can probably arrange that, Callum. I think we can probably do a bit of a shout out for you on Sunday's live stream. So I wouldn't think that would be a problem. If you can sort of post in the live stream on Sunday and just jog me memory, because as you know, the memory is beginning to get just a little bit on the fuzzy side now, and from Wednesday to Sunday, it's a little while for me to remember. So if you're around on Sunday, just give me a little prod in the live chat, and I'll definitely say happy birthday to you on Sunday. Alpha SB is with us. So good evening, SB. I hope you had a lovely afternoon, and I hope you had a nice day. Thank you for being with us this evening for our live stream. Andy is telling me that the region 3.4 of the actual Pacific is now 0.4 degrees below average La Nina on the way. Definitely looks like it, Andy. Yes, I think we could well be going into at least a week La Nina through this summer. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we do. So yes, I think that is a distinct possibility now. We're going to be doing the ENSO update on Friday, so it's going to be interesting to see how things are looking. But certainly in terms of the sea surface temperature anomalies, it does look as though we could well be heading into a weak landing. In around 5 minutes, we're going to have a look at the charts for the summer of 1995. want to have a look at charts for the summer of 1995 and just sort of recap, jog our memories about how that summer developed. So we'll be doing that from around 20 past 8, and then sometime around 8:30, what am I talking about? Sometime from around 6:30, we're going to be having a look at the 12Z date. So I'm looking at my clock. That's what it is. I'm looking at my clock, and it's saying 18:15. So for me, that's kind of like 8:15. So that's why I was thrown off there. So 20 past 6, we're going to be looking at the summer of 1995. Around 6:30, 25 7, something like that, we'll have a look at the 12Z. Up to 60 people watching right now, so hello and good evening. Thank you very much to everybody for tuning in. I wasn't sure what sort of response this will get, actually, because I know a lot of people are going to be busy at this time of the evening, getting their dinner and sort of settling in for the evening. So I wasn't sure whether this would catch on, but certainly with 60 people with us, it certainly seems like plenty of people are here and enjoying it. So thank you so much, everybody, for being with us this evening. Right, I've pulled down to the last comment, so I'm going to get back up again. Right, so we've got Agent Major saying, afternoon, Gav, and everyone. Hope you're doing okay. A lovely warm day, Gav. Do you think we will have drought warnings soon? I'm not sure, actually, Adrian. So it certainly has been very, very dry. There's no getting away from that. It's been really, really dry out there over the past few weeks, and I mean, we've got to go back to early March before we had any really sustained rainfall. So it's certainly been a very dry few weeks. But then we have to consider that we had a really, really wet winter and a wet autumn as well. So it does make it a little bit makes you a little bit unsure about whether, although I suppose we are probably already in a technical drought, certainly some places are probably already in a technical drought, which is defined by a certain number of days without any measurable rain. So I would imagine there are places in the country that are in a technical drought, but whether we would actually see drought warnings and hosepipe bans and things after such a phenomenally wet spell as we have through the autumn and the winter, like getting on for 6 months of continuous rain, or nearly continuous rain, I'm not sure. So I'll have to, I'm followed by a couple of people at the Environment Agency on Twitter, so I'll have to give them a tweet and see how things are looking water-wise, whether there are any concerns at the moment or not. But I think after such a wet autumn and winter, we are probably okay. But I wouldn't want to guarantee it, if you see what I mean. I wouldn't want to guarantee that that's the case. Shiram is saying, if the dry weather continues to September, we will be very close to drought warnings. Yes, if this was to go on until like late summer, August, September, then I think we would probably start to see drought warnings and hosepipe bans and things being put in place. I would imagine at the moment things aren't too bad from a water and underground water perspective. But if this very dry weather was to continue, and of course it's going to get hotter as well, as it always does. I mean, still very early. Having such warm days is quite remarkable, given that we are still very, very early on in the season. So if we was to start getting like several months more of very dry weather, and it's going to get hotter as well, as it always does through July and August, then I think later on in the summer we will probably be in a little bit of trouble water-wise. But I think right now, after such a wet autumn and winter, we're probably okay. But again, I'm not an expert on that, so I'll have to give a tweet to Dave Fropp and one or two of the other people who follow me on Twitter from the Environment Agency, and just ask them how things are looking from a water perspective. So when I have news, I may have news by Sunday, hopefully, Sunday's live stream. When I have a bit of news to give you, then I'll report back. with what I've heard. If that's okay. Right, moving down the chat. And as I said, in a couple of minutes we're going to have a look at the summer of 1995. So it won't be long now if we have a quick look at that. Just give everyone a couple more minutes to check in, and then we will do that for you. So Chris Taylor saying that he does hope we're going to have a 1995 type summer. So, well, we shall see, Chris. The Scouts summer forecast is going to be released on Sunday, so I'm not letting any cats out of the bag at this point. And we'll see what Gasworthy's summer forecast is predicting. Kendall Belcher is saying the Atlantic will be very active and dangerous. Calling for 24 storms, 14 hurricanes, 8 major hurricanes. Kendall, I'm not sure whether that, and you've done this in a few of the live streams, so I'm not sure whether this is your forecast or whether it's somebody else's. If you can confirm whether it's your forecast where you've got that from somebody else, then that would be absolutely great, because obviously if it's somebody else's forecast, then it needs to be credited to the correct person who's issued that forecast. But it's certainly a very, very bold, very bold forecast, like 24 storms, 14 hurricanes, and 8 majors. That is a very, very active season indeed. So, as I say, if that was to come off, then we really, really would be in for it. So Andy is saying more hurricanes could mean an increased risk of blocking in the winter. It's a possibility, Andy. We know that there's that feedback between an active hurricane season and the possibility of an increased storm blocking in the winter. A lot of water to get under the bridge before we start thinking about that, though. And Dylan Holbrook is saying, a bit of a late arrival, but I would have liked, but I'm here. Hello. So good evening, Dylan. Thank you for being with us. Right, let's have a look at the summer of 1995 then. We've given everyone enough time to check in now. So we'll have a quick look at exactly how the summer of 1995 developed, just to refresh our memories. So we'll get rid of the image, we'll pull up the display capture, and we are at Wetter Central for this, looking at their historic archive of charts. So the summer of 1995 really got going during the early part of May. Actually, that's like the first heads up. So during the first week of May, we get a ridge of high pressure building over to the east of the country. We draw up a very warm southerly wind. There's a heat wave through the first week of May. Temperatures top up to like upper 20s Celsius. Very, very warm. On the 8th of May, which was actually the anniversary of VE Day, 8th of May 1995. There was a lot of celebrations and commemorations that day. We pulled down quite, I think it's a 40th anniversary, 45 to 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, no, it's 50th anniversary. So we pulled down quite a cold northerly wind on the 8th of May 1995, and this sends us into a cooler, more unsettled period during the middle of May 1995. So you see how we alternate between very warm conditions, as we have in the first week, and again later on in the month, but we do get a period of really quite cool northern winds. In fact, there is snow through this middle part of May 1995. So that's the 17th of May 95, and there was snow across parts of northern England, for example, on this day. Quite a cold, miserable day across most parts of the country. But then we go to 22nd of May, and we're back into those warm southerly winds again. There wasn't much rain through this May of 1995. There was more than the May that we've just had, though, or the May that we're having, I suppose. It's nearly over now, but there was more rain in May 1995 than this May. But generally it's quite a dryish month, and we alternate between quite cool conditions at times, but also significantly warmer than average weather as well. We finished May 1995 on a relatively unsettled note, although most of the rain is like in the far north and west, and that carries on into early June as well. Then we start to build up some higher pressure out to our west through the early part of June 1995. The high pressure just sits to the west of Ireland, with low pressure to our east. We start to bring down like a northerly type flow there on the 10th of June 1995. So we do get this northerly outbreak, and this is the reason that the summer of 1995, despite actually being a little bit drier than the summer of 1976, is not as hot. It's just not quite as hot as the summer of 76. So because of this early part of June period where we do set up a ridge out to our west and a trough of low pressure to our east, it brings down a lot of cool sort of northeasterly winds. It is pretty dry through this period. There's very little rain, a few showers around coast areas, but we do bring in a lot of cloud, so it's quite cool, cloudy, and just limiting the temperatures through this early part of June 1995. That's the 15th, for example, and again we've still got the low pressure to the east, high pressure to the west. We're still bringing down these pretty cool northerly winds. The summer really starts to get going though from around the 20th onwards. So this is the 18th of June, trying to re-establish a westerly flow at this point, but that's the last sort of westerly flow that we're going to see for several weeks, because on the 21st we see the Azores high is beginning to make its move, starts to push in from off the Atlantic, and by the 25th of June we are under a large blocking area of high pressure then, and that high pressure is going to pretty much sit around the country throughout the rest of the summer. So a heat wave develops through the last week of June 1995. Temperatures widely push up into the low 30s Celsius, unbroken sunshine by day, and just really, really hot temperatures day after day until we get to the 30th, when we bring down a very weak cold front. This is the episode that I've talked about in past live streams, where we bring down this cold front, and it's like an invisible cold front. So there's no cloud on this, there's no rain on this. Ahead of it, it's really, really baking hot. Behind it, the temperature drops by something like 10 to 20 degrees within an hour, within half an hour to an hour. And there's no cloud at all, no visibility of that cold front. Absolutely remarkable how that cold front sort of played out. And then behind that we go to a very different sort of air mass. Temperatures take a tumble during the opening days of July. Tries to go a little bit unsettled again, but never really gets unsettled for England and Wales. We remain close to that high pressure, and by the time we get through to the end of the first week of July, into the second week of July, we're back into those hot southerlies again, with high pressure over Scandinavia, the low pressure out to west, and we're pulling in these hot southerly southeasterly winds, and that carries us on into the middle of the month. We get a thundery low developing out to our west, so we try and sort of bring in a thundery breakdown. I think there were thunderstorms through this middle part of July, and some of them were quite torrential actually. Some of them produced flash flooding and whatnot, but they were pretty hit and miss. We didn't get any storms here where I am in Northants, for example. Where I was recording weather back then, so where I am in June 1995, we recorded 9mm all month. In July 1995, we recorded 6mm all month, and then in August 1995, I think we recorded around 2-3mm all month. It was a absolutely phenomenally dry summer, really. But for this middle part of July, there were some sort of quite hot, thundery, some quite torrential, thundery outbreaks. But again, not long before we get back to the Azores high again. That's the 20th of July. The Azores high is back in once more, building up the heat, returning us back to dry and hot conditions. 25th of July, heat wave developing. Heat pumping up from the south. We're under that big blocking area of high pressure, and that really just continues to sit around the country then through into August. We come to the end of July 1995, and we can see the classic sort of pattern of the Azores high ridging to the Scandinavian high, so a large ridge of high pressure covering thousands of miles, or certainly many hundreds of miles, and yes, so that's a classic sort of hot summer chart with the two ridges producing a very, very strong and stable area of high pressure. And this goes on then into August, which is a really, really hot month, really hot during August 1995. And again, scattered thunderstorms around during the opening days of August 95, but most places miss them. Most places just hot and baked day after day after day. And the high pressure just continues to sit very, very close to the country. You see all the time, Northern Europe has had quite a poorish summer. That's where the jet stream has been. And also at times coming down to some central parts of Europe as well. But where we are, we're under that blocking high pressure pretty much continuously. And on it goes into the middle of August. Very little change, really. The high pressure just continues to sit around the country. Temperatures rising into the low 30s day after day after day. And yeah, it just goes on and on and on, just day after day of the clear blue skies and unbroken sunshine as well. We're coming towards the end of the summer now. This is 20th of August, still under the big ridge of high pressure, still very dry and very hot, proper drought conditions. But by the 23rd, we're just beginning to weaken the high enough to allow some sort of a front to come in from the northwest. Again, it was basically just a band of cloud on that, but it did lower the temperature. And this is the start of us coming to the end of the summer of 1995. So we eventually finish this summer on quite a cool northerly note. Actually, the last week of August 95 was relatively cool and northerly. The high pressure back in by the last day of August 1995, but it's a different air mass now. It's certainly a lot cooler. And then what happens as we get into September is what often happens when we have a very hot and dry sort of drought summer. We turn things unsettled. So the ridges still cling on through the opening day of September, but gradually we begin to break the ridge down. Initially, we start to bring low pressure in from the east, which is quite unusual. That brings a deluge to more sort of eastern and northeastern parts of the country. And then eventually we get the remains of a hurricane, this feature just here, that starts powering in from off the Atlantic around the 6th, 7th of July. And that really is the end then of the summer of 1995, and we go into a wet September with regular bouts of rain and heavy thunderstorms as well. The heat did come back though into October 1995. Also quite interesting about 1995 is while all that was going on, it's actually a very active hurricane season. You probably can't see this on the Wikipedia page for the 1995 hurricane season. I won't stay here for too long, but I'll just tell you that 1995 was the third most active Atlantic hurricane season on record, tied with 1887, 2010, 2011 and 2012, and only 1933 and 2005 have more active hurricane seasons. So while all of that was going on, whilst we remained under that continuous sort of blocking area of high pressure, actually there was a lot of activity within the Atlantic, but most of it was going up to Greenland through like the summer months, anyway, through August. Interesting to note that most of those years I just mentioned, that 1995 is tied with as being the third most active hurricane season. That's 1887, 2010, 2011 and 2012. 3 out of 4 of those are followed by cold or very cold winters, of course, including the December to remember. So again, there's just that connection all the time that we think about with active hurricane seasons and the potential later on for northern blocking and colder conditions as we get through into the winter period. Right, so I hope you enjoyed that little recap on the summer of 1995. Hope you found it interesting. I'm going to go back to YouTube. We'll see what you've been saying. In a couple of minutes, we'll have a look at the 12Z for the GFS and also have a look for the 12Z for the GEM as well, which has been updating whilst we've been doing this. I'll turn off the display capture, put up the image, and yeah, we'll get ourselves back to YouTube and we'll see what you've all been making of that. So let's have a look. And I see that we've got around 70 people with us while we've been doing that. So hello, and thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in on this Wednesday evening. As I said, I wasn't sure what sort of response we would get with this, doing it on a Wednesday evening, but certainly seems like there is a demand for this. So thank you, everybody, for being with us. Don't forget to give us a like on the video. As I said, around 5 minutes, we'll have a look at the 12Z, and we'll see what 12Z, GFS and GEM are showing. Okay, so let's go down through the comments then and see how things are looking while we've been doing that. So loads and loads of comments. Thank you so much, everybody, for getting involved in the live stream. I hope you enjoyed that little look at 1995 95. So I'm going to zip through the comments as quickly as I can. Obviously, with so much interest in this live stream, I won't have time to go through everybody's comments, but I'll go through as many as we can. So we've got to Dylan Holbrook saying it was a late arrival. Jack Lowe saying also 95 ranked as number 1 for 12-month CT. Yeah, that's right. November 94 to October 95 does have an 11 Celsius CT, Jack. That's absolutely correct. Item Majid saying 95 was roasting. We're due another, I think. Well, we did have 2018, didn't we, Iden? So we had 2018, which wasn't quite able to carry on into August, though. We haven't had a really hot August with an 18 Celsius plus CT since 2003. So we're definitely due a hot August, I think. Martin Angrove is with us saying, good evening, Gav. Are we likely to see a Fundry breakdown at some point? We're going to have a look at the 12Z very shortly, Martin. I don't think there's any sign of anything Fundry up to like Monday, that sort of time frame. Beyond that, we'll have a look at 12Z, GFS and GEM in a couple of minutes at around 20 to 7. We're going to wrap this up sometime around 5 to 7, I think. So we'll give it a few more minutes before we have a look at that 12Z data. Paul James is saying summer of 76 will always beat 2018. Yes, indeed, Paul. 1976 is the daddy of hot summers, primarily because it was so very, very hot, but also because it came as a culmination of so much hot and dry weather. So we also had 1975. We just had a very prolonged dry spell that started at the end of 74 and didn't finish until like the autumn of 76. So yes, definitely I think we can say that for now, anyway, we don't know what summer 2020 has got in store, but for now 1976 is still the daddy of hot summers, just as 1963 is still the daddy of cold winters. Mark Kanish is saying, evening Gavin, hope you're well. I think you've done well with the spring forecast. You mentioned about the La Nina as the summer is going. So I think you're saying that if we get landing, I hope the summer doesn't become like 2007. Thank you for flagging up the spring forecast. I think the spring forecast has done very, very well, Mark. I'm really pleased with it. We had 2 poor long-range forecasts with the autumn and winter forecast, but I think we've revived our long range forecast reputation a little bit with the spring forecast. I'm very, very happy how the spring forecast has performed. I think we've done quite well. One aspect we was a little bit unsure about was how quickly it would take to break out of the unsettled weather. We possibly thought that the spring overall would be a little bit more unsettled than it has been, and that's mainly down to March, but we did think that once we broke out of that unsettled winter weather, we would, go into a prolonged dry spell. So I think the spring forecast has done well. We will verify it as we get into the early part of the summer, as always, and hopefully we've done okay. Still hovering around 70 concurrent viewers. Thank you so much, everybody, for being with us this evening. I'm going to scroll down the chat and answer a couple more, and then around 20 to 7, we'll have a look at that 12Z data and see how things are looking with the GFS and with GEM. As I say, we haven't got the ECM until later on in the evening at the moment. When we're in GMT, we will have the ECM updating between 6 and 7 o'clock. So it'll be doable to look at the ECM between 6 and 7 as well. But at the moment, won't be updating for around another hour or so. Mark is hoping to have another 1995 summer. Philip is saying, afternoon Gav, afternoon all. Front-loaded summers suit me. Plenty of birthdays in June in the family. Either way, I've always got an eye on winter. Indeed, Philip, yes. So it's possible that we're going to get the warmest, driest weather early in the summer, and then we'll get a deterioration later on as we get through to like July, August. Possible that's how things will go. We have had that a little bit over the past few years, and I think we're due a hot August. But whether this will be it, whether this will be that hot August, it does remain to be seen. We've got Josh White saying, I don't remember summer 1995 for some reason. Guess I'm about to be reminded. So we did that. Yes, I think that definitely will have refreshed your memory there, Josh. Andy's asking about the QBO. What's happening with the QBO? You tell me, Andy, because I am very, very uncertain about where the QBO is going at the moment. In theory, we should be going into the easterly phase of the quasi-biennial oscillation, and we should be seeing it powering up. It's such a struggle to get into this easy phase of the QBO. And we have actually seen a little bit of westerliness of the QBO high up towards the stratospheric level over the past few weeks. So where the QBO is going, I have absolutely no idea, really. I still maintain, I've been maintaining this all the way along, I still maintain that we will eventually go into a proper easterly QBO and a strong and mature sort of easterly QBO phase that will last several months. But the longer this is going on with us getting into it, the more sort of doubts I'm beginning to have about it. It's very, very odd what's going on with the QBO, to say the least. Okay, let's have a look at the 12Z then. So we're going to go back to Wetter Central, and I'm going to refresh the page for you. And then we're going to turn on the display capture, and we're going to have a look at the 12Z GFS, and we'll have a look at 12Z GEM as well. So let's quickly turn off the image again, put up the display capture. There we go, we're screen sharing again. And this is the GFS 12Z, and we can see that at the moment we're high and dry, high pressure centered over the country. It's we're in a prolonged spell of dry and fine weather, 1035 millibar area of high pressure right over top of the country. Absolutely classic stuff. And this high pressure is going to sit around the country for several days more, so we're going into the weekend, and the high pressure fest goes on, going to be day after day of mostly dry, sunny and warm or very warm weather. I don't think we're going to quite manage to top out at 30, but I think sort of mid-upper 20s Celsius for several days looks very likely. Into the early part of next week, we're moving through from Sunday into Monday now, and again, very little sign of any sort of breakdown of the ridge. So into the early part of next week, the fine weather goes on. I suppose the ridge is weakening ever so slightly, might allow some showers to break out perhaps in the early part of next week. I imagine they'll be pretty scattered and quite hit and miss. But there is a little elongation in the isobar there over the central swathe of the country from Monday to Tuesday. That might just allow some showers and whatnot to break out. But I think really the early part of next week is also looking mainly dry. And then the same idea really as we get into the middle of next week, we start to take the high pressure out to west. We start to pull down those cooler northerly winds. This is the 3rd of June. We find the wind beginning to go into the north. It doesn't look particularly unsettled to me, though. I don't think there'll be all that much rain, but it is definitely going into a cooler northerly outbreak, probably bringing in some showers, particularly to more northern parts of the country. Who knows, maybe even a little bit cold enough for like the showers to be a bit wintry over Scottish mountains. Perhaps it would depend on the exact parameters within the atmosphere, of course. But certainly cooler and northerly through like the second half of next week and then into the first weekend of June. This is day 10, which is the 6th of June. And we're looking quite cool there. And then running into the extended range, it looks like the GFS is going to bring the high pressure back in, or it's going to try to anyway. So winds are still sort of a little bit northerly as we go through the second week of June, but the high pressure is closer to us. So I don't think that is such a long fetch northerly. Shouldn't be quite as cool. But overall, still set up is high pressure to our west and northwest, low pressure to our east, winds in from the north. Now, do you think that looks a little bit June 1995? That's the question. Is that a little bit June 1995, which did have that northerly through, as we've established, because we just looked at it, did have that northerly through the first half of the month, but wasn't particularly unsettled, actually had the high pressure close enough to us to prevent all that much rain, but was just quite cool and cloudy. Does that look similar? I think that looks a little bit similar, I have to say, to June 1995. But you'll have to let me know in the live chat and when we finish the stream in the comments what you think. The last thing we're going to look at is the GEM. So I'll have a very quick look at that. So again, we're under high pressure at the moment. We're high and dry, absolutely no issues with the weather at all, and this high pressure keeps going as we roll on through the rest of the week and into the weekend. It stays dry, fine, sunny, and very, very warm as well. Into the early part of next week, what's going to happen? We're going to see low pressure sort of cut off around Biscay. Still keeping a lot of high pressure going into the early part of next week with the GM. This low pressure from Biscay is trying to get up and bring us some thunder, but basically that's still dry up to Tuesday through most parts of the country. And then similar to the GFS, it looks like we're going to pull down some cooler northerly winds as we go into the second half next week, so that will cool things down. Possibly turning a bit more unsettled. There is a trough of low pressure that's sort of diving southwards from the Norwegian Sea in towards the North Sea. That could bring showers with it. I wouldn't imagine there'd be a great deal of rain with that. And I think the main thing of note for the second half next week would be the drop in temperature, quite a big fall off in the temperature. Maybe wintry showers across the extreme north of Scotland. Could be a bit late on for that, but probably restricted Scottish mountains. And but just quite a big drop in temperature. And I would have thought maybe a hint of overnight frost, something like that, in rural areas up in the north in particular. And just quite a shock in terms of the temperature. But very little in the way of rain getting down to southern England anyway. With that. So for southern England, where it is so very, very dry, for southern England, I imagine we're going to have at least another week, possibly more, of that dry weather. And the only thing that looks like it's going to happen is that temperatures are going to lower into the second half of next week. And I say temperatures lower, it could actually be quite a significant drop in temperature that we have through the second half of next week. It could be quite significant, sort of similar, I suppose, in some ways to what happened during the early part of March, during the early part of this month, during the early part of May. We've been nearly up to 80 people watching us while we've been doing that little bit of screen sharing, so that's absolutely fantastic. There's definitely a demand to be doing these live streams at 6 o'clock on a Wednesday evening. I was very unsure how many people we would have tuning into this, but definitely it looks like there's been a decent audience to this, so we'll be doing more Wednesday evening live streams at around 6 o'clock. I'm very, very sure that we will. We're going to be here for another sort of 5-10 minutes, and then we'll wrap it up. So I'm going to take one or two more questions, and then, as I say, it'll be time to let you get on with your evening, I think. So Sharky Train saying hopefully no drought ahead for us. I wouldn't say there's not going to be a drought, Sharky. All I think is at the moment we've probably still got enough rain sort of left over from from the winter, from the autumn and the winter, to be able to sustain the underground, particularly the underground water levels is important. So to be able to sustain underground water levels. But if this was to go on through the next few weeks and months, then a drought, I wouldn't rule it out. So Cosmic is going to go off and have his dinner, so I hope you're enjoying Cosmic. So Savvy is saying, my puff pastries are in the oven. Gotta love baking. Well, congratulations for that, Savvy. So it's nice to have a little bit of puff pastry, isn't it? So I'm not sure what you've got in the puff pastry. Is it sausages or something? Sausage rolls, perhaps? But whatever it is, they sound very, very nice. So when we wrap this up in a few minutes, everybody round to Savvy's to try his puff pastries. Paul Cooper is saying, if we have a hot summer followed by a cold winter like I had in 1995, we could be in severe drought next year. We did see drought continuing through 1995 into 1996 for some places, Paul, but it is very, very early days to be thinking about next winter, of course. Even if the summer was to pan out like 1995, it will be very early days to be thinking about next winter. Chris A is saying, Gavin, thank you for the great live stream. That's absolutely fine, Chris. Thank you for being with us this evening. That's absolutely great. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. Katrine is saying, when I lived in Ashington in the mid-90s, Mays were generally overcast and cold. We did have a couple, didn't we, Katrine? So May 1995, as I say, was rather cool. In the middle, anyway, it did have hotter weather early and late. 1996, of course, May 1996 was the coldest May since the 1940s. And 1997 also had a pretty cool and wet May after a hot start. So May's in the 1990s, certainly the mid-90s anyway, weren't all that good, to say the least. Now I can see that I think somebody has possibly given us a super chat. So let's see if that indeed has happened. So as always, the control room is playing up, so that's not giving me any useful information. So I think we have had a super chat though, so I can't see who gave me the super chat. If anybody can let me know who has super chatted. There's definitely been a super chat through this live stream, so that would be absolutely fantastic. Paul, okay, it's Paul Cooper giving us a super chat. Thank you, Paul, for your super chat. That's absolutely fantastic. Paul is saying, I was just wondering why the summer of 2018 was reported as the warmest summer on record. Did Scotland have a very cold summer in 1976? I'm not sure about the reporting of the summer of 2018, Paul. I'm not sure about the stats that were that we saw coming out during summer 2018, because we did have a relatively poorish sort of August. Although, of course, July 2018 was very, very hot, and June was really warm too. But to me, I think that it's most likely that 76 was a hotter summer compared to 2018. And so, yes, I'm unsure about the reporting of the summer of 2018 at the time. But for me, 76 was like the hotter of the two. It may be down to the fact that the heat wasn't as extensive in Scotland in 76 compared to 2018. It could be that was the case, but I'm not sure, but thank you so much, Paul, for your super chat, and I wish I could answer that a little bit better, because at the time I was quite unsure about the reporting of the summer of 2018 when we heard all the headlines about it being hotter than 76. I was quite unsure about it at the time. I'm still unsure about it now, how they arrived at that sort of conclusion about the summer of 2018 after a relatively poorish sort of August. But anyway, thank you so much for your donation, for your super chat. That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Paul, for doing that. Okay, I'll take a couple more, and then we're going to wrap things up quite shortly now. So we are coming to the end of our live stream. We've still got 65 people with us, though, concurrently. So thank you so much, everybody, for being with us this evening. Mikey Pierce is saying, I don't remember the summer of 1995, but the winter got the most snow we ever had. Yes, very cold winter for 95-96, of course, following that hot summer. And Biticus is saying temperatures recovering in northern Europe, especially in Lithuania. So yeah, it's been pretty cold, hasn't it, across northern, northeast and eastern parts of Europe over the past few weeks, whilst we've been warm out in west. It has been cooler in the east. So pleased to hear the temperature is in recovery anyway. Mickey Pierce is saying, this year coincides with the solar minimum low, same as 1995. Yes, 1995 was very close to solar minimum as well, so there is that connection. Alpha SB is saying the air feels so dry, I could do with some rain for sure. Yes, definitely, SB. My garden is in desperate need of rain. Jamie is saying we had really bad winds a few days back, 60 miles an hour. Yes, very unusual. And you also had quite a bit of rain up there in Scotland. I know that happened. Right, so I think we're pretty much coming to the end of the live stream now. Graham Doolan is saying, hello Gavin, I'm seeing signs of June 1989. Excuse me, the first week of that month. Saw a sudden drop in temperature and heavy showers with really cool conditions here in Kent. On the 6th of June, it snowed. I wasn't aware of that, Graham. I have to check out the charts for June 1995. Definitely will. But that's interesting. So we've got hot summer of 1989 and we've also got hot summer of 1995. Both of them with northerly outbreaks in June at the start of them. And I think with that, we're going to wrap things up. So, thank you so much, everybody, for being with us. Thank you so much, everybody, for being with us this evening. I'm absolutely blown away by the response that we've had to this live stream. I'm really surprised. I wasn't sure we would get all that much of a response, to be honest, doing it at 6 o'clock. I thought maybe people would be a little bit busy, you know, they'd be getting their dinner and all of that kind of stuff. So the fact that so many people have turned out this live stream has been absolutely fantastic. And thank you so much, everybody, for being with us this evening. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. We'll definitely be doing more on a Wednesday evening at around 6 o'clock in the evening. Big thank you to Paul and to Savvy for moderating the live stream. That's absolutely great. That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for being with us here with us, both of you, and moderating our live stream tonight. So I'm going to head over to Savvy's and try out some of his puff pastry. So that's what I'm going to be doing in the next hour or so. Everybody round to Savvy's to try out his puff pastry. Right then, so we're going to end the live stream there. Thank you so much, everybody, for a fantastic live stream. We'll be doing more live streaming on a Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock. The next scheduled live stream is going to be on Sunday at 5. We're going to look at the CFS V2 for the winter of 2020-21 for that one. I want these Wednesday evening live streams to be more sort of shorter range based, perhaps a little bit more shorter range based, and but possibly with historical elements, such as we've done today. And then the Sunday live stream to be very much towards the longer range, in line with all of the other longer range stuff that we're doing on a Sunday, but perhaps pushing the boundaries even further ahead in the Sunday live stream. So Sunday's live stream, we'll have a look at the CFS-V2 for the winter of 2020-21. Between now and then, you know the regular recording schedule. There may be a live stream late on Friday evening. Probably not, though, this week, because I imagine I'll be very busy trying to get the summer forecast together on Friday evening, getting the analogues together for the summer forecast. So probably no late Friday live stream this week on Friday. But you know the recording schedule that's coming up over the next few days. And as I say, the definite next live stream is going to be on Sunday at 5 o'clock, but also on Sunday we're going to have the Gaz Weather summer forecast. So I suppose this live stream has been building up to the summer forecast a little bit. I have seen already the years that are leading our analogues, and they are quite interesting. The years that have come out as the leading analogues for this year's summer forecast. I can say no more than that, but all I say is that at 10 a.m. on Sunday, the Gaz Weather summer forecast will be revealing everything. And that's as much as I can say about that. Right, thank you so much for a fantastic live stream, everyone. I'm going to end the stream there. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening. Stay safe and stay well, and we'll see you back here on Sunday at 5 o'clock. That's all for now. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening.